I feel embarrassed saying this, but sending $2,100 a month is tough with my living expenses, even if it's for my grandchild. He might get mad, but can you, as his wife, tell him about this?
I received a call from my mother-in-law, Barbara, while I was in my final month of pregnancy. Confused, I asked her what she meant. Sending money? What are you talking about?
You just had your baby, right? When I sent a gift for the baby, my son told me you guys are struggling and to send $2,100 every month for the grandchild. You didn't know about this?
Wait, what? Hold on.
But my baby hasn't been born yet. What?
Now it was her turn to be stunned. I carefully explained that my due date was 3 weeks away and the baby was still in my belly. Then in shock, she muttered,
Then what on earth was my son?
Huh? We had no idea of the terrible truth that would soon come to light. My name is Ellen, a 31-year-old married woman. I used to be a civil servant. As I was approaching 30, worried about not having a boyfriend, I asked a friend if she knew any nice guys. That's how I met Alex, who would become my husband. Alex, a corporate employee of the same age, treated me really well during our relationship. I felt I could envision a future with him. After dating for a year, he proposed, and I joyfully accepted. My parents lived about a 15-minute drive from my apartment. When I brought him to meet them, they were overjoyed and blessed our marriage. Next, it was time to visit his family. His father had passed away when he was in high school, and it seemed his mother lived alone. After an 8-hour drive, we finally arrived at his remote family home. The house was large and impressive, and I, coming from a modest background, was overwhelmed. I heard that his mother came from an old family and had enough rental income to live comfortably without working, even after his father's death. The first time I met her, she greeted me very politely.
Thank you for coming all this way.
She seemed soft-spoken and classy. Inside the house, she was always smiling and supported our marriage.
Ellen, since Alex is an only child, I might have spoiled him a bit. If there's anything bothering you, feel free to set him straight.
Hey, Mom. His comment made us all laugh, and the visit was pleasant throughout. Later, both families met, and all went well. Barbara attended the wedding with a big smile. I was happy to have such a nice mother-in-law. Although she lived far away and we didn't meet often, we maintained a good relationship through gifts and birthdays. However, my relationship with Alex changed drastically 6 months after our wedding. We used to return home around the same time and would cook dinner while enjoying conversations. He started working late and spending less time at home. Our conversations decreased, and he often went out on weekends, leaving me feeling lonely. One day, I decided to talk to Alex after he came home late. Hey, Alex, you've been coming home late lately, haven't you? I understand work is tough, but we're still newlyweds. I wish you'd spend more time with me. He responded irritably.
I'm busy with work right now. Please, understand.
But at least a little more time together.
Enough. You wouldn't understand being a cushy government worker. Corporate jobs are tough. Just stop talking about it.
I was shocked by his words. I took my job seriously and didn't appreciate him belittling it. More than that, his harsh words hurt me. Afterwards, he continued to be busy with work and was rarely home. With him away, all the household chores fell on me. It was quite a challenge to handle all the housework for two while working. We still talked normally and had an intimate life, but I always felt dissatisfied. Then, during our first year of marriage, I discovered I was pregnant It'd be nice to have a child soon, wouldn't it? It was the pregnancy we had hoped for. After using a test kit, I went to my OBGYN to confirm the pregnancy.
You're 9 weeks along. You can see the heartbeat right here.
Seeing the small baby on the ultrasound screen and hearing the heartbeat, I was thrilled and waited for Alex to come home. He returned late, as usual. I prepared a lavish dinner and waited for him.
What's the occasion? The dinner looks fancy. Something happen?
When he asked, I eagerly showed him the ultrasound photo. Guess what? We're pregnant. Our baby is growing inside me. His reaction was unexpected.
What? You too?
Huh? What do you mean, you two? Is someone else we know pregnant? Puzzled, I asked him. He coughed exaggeratedly.
No, I mean, you are?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am. Aren't you happy?
Of course I'm happy. It's our long-awaited child.
He said that and gently touched my stomach. At that time, I had no doubts and was wrapped in happiness. Soon after, I started experiencing severe morning sickness. It was worse than I imagined, like being seasick all day, often bedridden. Naturally, I couldn't do any housework. One day, when Alex came home late and found me in bed, he asked,
Hey, are you sleeping? Where's my dinner?
Oh, I'm sorry. The morning sickness was so bad I couldn't cook. I apologized, feeling guilty, but he clicked his tongue.
You're not using morning sickness as an excuse to skip housework, are you?
What? No, I really feel terrible.
Pregnancy isn't an illness. Stop being so lazy.
That's not fair. As I stood speechless, he left the house again. I never expected to be treated like this during my pregnancy, and I was just dumbfounded. Afterward, although my morning sickness subsided, my husband remained distant. He was still busy with work, doing overtime and working on weekends, hardly ever at home. Feeling vulnerable during my pregnancy, I tried to express this to him, but he just gave short, indifferent responses. As I entered my 6th month of pregnancy and it became more stable, I decided to tell my mother-in-law about it. When I called her after a long time, she sounded delighted to hear from me.
Hi, Ellen. What's up?
Hi, Barbara. I haven't been in touch for a while. I have some news to share. I'm pregnant and due in 4 months. She was overjoyed at the news.
Really? I'm going to have a grandchild? That's wonderful.
I can't travel easily because it's far, but I'll bring the baby to meet you after it's born.
Thank you. Can I send something for you to eat during pregnancy?
After I happily agreed, she asked me.
I haven't heard from Alex at all. Is he doing okay? Are you two getting along?
I hesitated for a moment, not wanting to reveal the truth to such a kind woman. I said we were doing fine and soon ended the call. Even at 8 months pregnant, Alex was rarely home. He didn't participate in choosing a name for the baby and often went on business trips, returning home late on weekdays. I worried about whether everything would be okay with the baby coming soon, but by then I had gotten used to his absence. As my due date approached, I struggled to walk with my protruding belly, having finished almost all preparations for the baby's arrival. Then I received a call from Barbara. A call from Barbara? I wonder what it's about. She rarely calls me. Thinking that, I answered the call. Hello, Barbara.
Hi, Ellen. It's been a while. How are you and the baby doing?
I responded while feeling the baby move. Yes, the baby is active right now.
That's good to hear. Actually, I called today because...
She hesitated to continue. What's wrong, Barbara?
I feel embarrassed saying this, but sending $2,100 a month for the grandchild is tough on my finances. Alex might get mad, but can you talk to him about it?
I asked her, not understanding. Sending money? What do you mean?
You just had your baby, right? When I sent a gift for the baby, my son told me you guys are struggling and to send $2,100 every month for the grandchild. Didn't you know?
Hold on. But my baby hasn't been born yet.
What?
Now it was her turn to be surprised. I explained that my due date was 3 weeks away and the baby was still in my belly. She then murmured,
Then what on earth was my son?
Huh? She revealed, her voice trembling.
Alex told me you hated me and didn't want me to call. And then a month ago, he said the grandchild was born and asked me to send a gift.
That's not true. I don't hate you at all. And as I just said, my baby hasn't been born yet. So what happened after that?
I told him I wanted to see my grandchild at least once. He said he'd bring the baby and told me not to bother you. I was shocked to think you hated me that much, but I was happy to meet my grandchild.
As I nodded, she continued.
A few days later, Alex showed up alone with the baby and left quickly. I thought it was your child, so when he asked for money for the grandchild, I couldn't refuse.
When I asked about the day he came, it was the same day he had told me he was on a business trip. I confided in her about his absence and the way he treated me during my pregnancy. After hearing everything, she pondered for a while.
Ellen, I have an idea.
I listened to her suggestion and nodded firmly. Weeks passed, and as my due date was just 5 days away, I stood in front of an apartment and knocked on the door. A woman peeked out.
A salesperson at this hour? I'm busy with a baby. Please leave.
I wedged my foot in the door and spoke in a low voice. You're Kate, right? You know me, I'm Alex's wife. The woman's face turned pale, but I pushed my way into the house. Opening the living room door, I saw Alex, frozen in surprise, and a baby sleeping in a crib.
Ellen, what are you doing here?
I'm here too.
Before he could respond, my mother-in-law appeared behind him.
What? Mom too?
Let's have a talk, shall we? I made the pale-faced Kate and Alex sit together, with my mother-in-law and me facing them.
How did you find this place?
Trembling, he muttered, and I explained to him. I told him how his strange behavior was uncovered through the phone call with his mother and how we pieced together that something was wrong, and that she hired a detective.
She hired a detective?
I'm a victim of your deception too. Of course I'd use a detective for myself and my daughter-in-law.
Hearing her firm words, he hung his head.
Now, tell us the truth with your own mouth.
He started to speak reluctantly. He met Kate, a temp worker at his office, about 6 months after our marriage. He found her attractive and made a move. Kate was okay with them being married, so they began a relationship. Eventually, she got pregnant, and it was certainly his child. Then I announced my pregnancy, and Kate, maybe feeling competitive, said she wanted to keep the baby too. She realized she had gone too far to turn back and decided to have the baby. To support her and the child without alerting me, he tricked his mother into sending $2,100 every month. The baby he took to his mother's house was Kate's, born before mine. Hearing this, I sighed deeply. Did you really think you'd never get caught?
I thought it would work if I convinced you that you hated my mom.
And what do you plan to do now?
Ellen, please forgive me. I don't want to leave you. Please.
What about her and the child? You plan to just abandon them?
I'll leave them. Let's live together Just the three of us with our child, okay? We've always been together, right?
Hearing his words, Kate looked at him in shock. His selfishness infuriated me. Don't underestimate women, you self-centered jerk. Just as I was about to yell at my husband, Barbara stood up and slapped him hard.
Mom, what was that for?
Your audacity is unbelievable. You deceived me and Ellen, and now you want to abandon your mistress and child? You can't get away with that.
But...
He was flustered by his usually gentle mother's anger. I declared to him, I'll never forgive you both. I'll demand compensation from you two. And Alex, I expect plenty of child support from you. Make sure you pay every single penny.
But...
Leaving a despairing Alex and a stunned Kate behind, my mother-in-law and I left. Later, I gave birth to a healthy baby. Soon after, my divorce from Alex was finalized, and thanks to Barbara's urging, the compensation was paid quickly. We agreed on a monthly child support payment. Kate's parents ended up paying her compensation, furious with her for having a child from an affair. They promised to take her back to the countryside. Thus, Alex and Kate broke up. As for him, it turned out his corporate job was through connections from Barbara's relatives. His affair with Kate had already become a rumor at work, but he couldn't be fired due to the connections. But Barbara told her relatives to fire him, resulting in him losing his job. She then handed him over to an acquaintance's fishing boat. Now, having lost everything, he's working hard on the boat every day.
I'll make sure he pays the child support,
she assured me, and I was grateful. As for me, I returned to my parents' home with my newborn, living peaceful days. It was Barbara that named the baby, and I often visit her with my son. I hope he grows up strong and kind like his mother. I look forward to watching my son grow.